Okie doke. We are live on social media and we have all of our friends here on Zoom. We're here and ready for our social strategy playbook for July 2026. So thank you everyone for joining. Feel free to drop questions in the comments or the chat as we go, and let's get started. So, first and foremost, for anyone who has not come to one of these before, what we'll cover today is first, I'm going to go through any social media platform updates that I think are important and worth mentioning. Then we'll go through content tips that I've gathered through them from different experts, sources, whoever I've been able to find, articles and content from that I think is really important for you guys to know and work into your strategy. And then at the end of the presentation, I will give 4 video trends that are easy to try. So I try to pick ones that are really easy to film, that are built and easy to tailor to your niche and help you attract more clients. And for anyone who's watching and is constantly like, oh, I wish I knew what to post about, your content idea for today is to take your favorite learning from today's session and share it somewhere on LinkedIn, or even, use a tip from today and use it in your content strategy this month. Christina, I am live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So we are on all of the channels, which is why this takes a second sometimes to get up and running. But a lot of you are here with me on Zoom today, which is always great. And I love having you guys here. So for anyone who doesn't know, especially those maybe watching us live, we're Social Coach. Our platform is designed to make social selling simple for both enterprise and individuals. So we have video scripts and we do editing for you. There's automated content scheduling and randomized and segmented campaigns for teams. And we also have built-in compliance controls. So if you're someone who is interested in learning more about Social Coach, feel free to reach out and let us know. I'm going to make sure my slides are moving forward and we'll get to our platform updates. Perfect. So our first update for this month is that TikTok, and this is not necessarily a new release, but it's one that I think a lot of us may have overlooked. TikTok allows you to add keywords to your video's metadata. And I know that sounds like a lot of words, but basically all it means is that when you post a video on TikTok, it typically combs through your content and assigns a few keywords to your video to try to categorize it. Now they've allowed you to go in and edit those keywords. So you can say, oh, you know what? That's actually not the most accurate. I would rather have this say down payment assistance rather than mortgage tip, right? That's a little more specific and it would help with my searchability more. So that's just something I wanted to call out to everyone to say, hey, it's not necessarily easy to do, but if you want to go into TikTok, click on your videos and go edit them, you can edit those keywords and see if that helps perform a little bit better in your search. So an easy way to help do this without having to manually go in and edit those keywords every time is to make sure you are researching keywords before you post and making sure those are in your script, in your caption, and in your video title or thumbnail title if you have one, right? Additionally, adding in locations. So if you're in a specific city, state, market, local area, those can really help with giving TikTok and other platforms the ability to show your video to people in those same areas, right? So for anyone who just came through boot camp or has done it before, I typically advise don't use the words 49 states. You're like, I'm licensed in 49 states. Don't say it that way because no one is searching 49 states, that term, right? They're searching California, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, all those different states. So make sure you're using the name of the state or the city that you are trying to speak to in your content. And then the key thing about those keywords is to reinforce them throughout your post, right? So if you say it in the video, you want to also put it in your caption, put it in the title. And now with TikTok's ability to change this, you can make sure it's in the metadata as well. Awesome. Melissa says, really awesome update. I'm glad this is a good one. Grant, can TikTok be used for SEO and ChatGPT search? Yes. So TikTok videos and content can show up in those searches. I have seen that different platforms sometimes perform differently in those searches. It really just depends on the keywords. LinkedIn articles tend to do really, really well in ChatGPT searches because they have this built-in credibility of being tied to your personal and professional experience, right? Your profile has all your background and why you know what you know. So that tends to get ranked higher. YouTube also tends to do really well. And then I would say Instagram and TikTok do get cited through videos and carousels quite a bit as well. So definitely be using your keywords wherever you can. And this doesn't just apply to TikTok, but this particular being able to change the keywords associated with your video, that one is specific to TikTok. Christina, LinkedIn articles or posts? Technically both. those can both get ranked, but I would say articles tend to carry a little bit more weight because they feel more official than just a post. But to be honest, I've seen both get cited when I've been doing my searches and my research. And then a last little tip for this slide, if you see in this bottom, I found someone doing this on Instagram, and I thought it was a really interesting way to put some contact info and put your location in as a keyword in every post. So if you can see at the bottom of the post, they just put send this to your work bestie, right? That's the call to action. But then they put their phone number, email, and their location at the bottom of the post. I don't think you have to do this. And the email and phone number, to be honest, won't help with search or keywords. But the idea of putting your location at the bottom of every post, that would help with search and with getting your content out there to the right audience. So the other thing you could do, I know we talk about hashtags a lot. You could use hashtags, or you could simply put a list of keywords at the bottom of your posts if you really wanted to make sure that those got in there. Now, I'm not saying drop 30 words and keywords and paragraphs in there, but if you just wanted to add a few at the bottom of every post, I could see that helping with your keywords overall. Okay, next update is also for TikTok. This one is not released yet, but it's again something I just wanted to raise so everyone is aware of it. They are testing polls in comments, which is very cool. Instagram already does this, but it's something where if you post a video or you have a post you're sharing, you can create a poll and then your audience can then engage with it. So the reason why this is, I think, a good thing to know is that adding ways to encourage your audience to engage with your post and make it really easy is always a good practice. So you could be trying this out on Instagram more if you wanted to prepare for TikTok. But I also just wanted to use this as a reminder for everyone that if we're not asking questions or having polls in our content naturally, we should be integrating that, right? I love thinking when people post a would you rather, right? Would you rather have a mortgage that's 50 years long at this price, or would you rather pay it for a 30-year mortgage at this price? Right? That's something that you can present to people, and it gives you an immediate way to engage and have an opinion, even if you don't really know anything about a 50-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage, right? I'm going to watch the video. It's going to give me an opinion. I'm then going to comment below. So that's a really easy way to also do videos. If you guys just want to pose a question to your audience and post it, it feels really easy and basic. And I think for that reason, a lot of people don't use it. They're like, oh, that seems too easy. And I'm like, no, it's okay. You can just post a question. FAQ Friday, right? You could just ask your audience a question every Friday, and that could be great. I see a question here from Mike. The best place to search for keywords, I would say on TikTok is a really great place. And there's a website called Answer the Public, I believe. Sometimes I call it Ask the Public, and I don't think that's right. Answer the Public. Those are my two favorite places to find keywords. Or if you know how to use Google Trends and Analytics, that's a great one too. I did cover more of that in last month's social media strategy update. So if you want to find our YouTube channel, I can actually maybe drop that for you guys below, or maybe Shantae or one of my team members can grab that for us. The YouTube channel has all of the recordings of our previous sessions, and it should have a whole section on keywords last month and from previous months as well. So feel free to go check those out. And if not, you can always email me later and I'm happy to give you more of an answer. Okay. Now we're switching over to Instagram. This is a big one, except it's also not that big, but it's one we've all been waiting for, or at least I have. So you can now reorder your grid on Instagram. Now, in terms of how this is going to affect your posts or your reach, it's really not. It's really more aesthetic. But for those of us who really like having an aesthetic feed or making sure that everything's lined up properly, this is pretty cool because it just means if you have a post that either was out of order or you're kind of like, oh, I wish that this was after this one, you can now edit that post and drag it to where you want in your grid to make it look a little bit nicer. So to me, this is a reminder that we should be using our pinned post feature, which means we can lock 3 posts at the top of the feed so they never move, right? They don't get pushed down. So if you have a really strong, high performing post, either like, oh, it got a bunch of views, or, oh, this one always gets me messages or comments or shares, like if this one is a really high converter, those are some posts I would make sure are pinned to the top of your profile so that when people first come to your profile, they see that and they're more likely to engage and convert. And again, for anyone who just came through bootcamp, an introduction post or video is another really great thing to have pinned there so that you can make sure that you have an intro or something that people can look at to say, who are you? What do you help with? Why should I work with you? Right? A great question there. The next bootcamp, or so our bootcamp actually just started yesterday. So if anyone wanted to catch up, you can send me an email at marketing@socialcoach.io. And you can ask me to join the July cohort. I can send you the recording from yesterday and you can join in this month. Or if you're like, hey, this month's busy, it's a holiday week already, here's a quick QR code, and I can drop in the chat. Maybe Shantae can help me out again, and drop a bootcamp link for everybody to sign up there. And I have that link later as well in this presentation if we want it. But yeah, it runs for the full month. It's 4 sessions with me where we walk through the social media basics to help you get a good strategy. So yeah, if you haven't joined, come on through. It's free. We love to do it. But yeah, so reordering your grid, something you can do, a little more optional. But the main thing I want us to take away from this update is treat your Instagram profile and your social media profiles like a mini landing page. So there should be immediately something that tells me who you are, why I should work with you. And then your content should be helping me identify, is this for me? Why should I follow? Why should I message you or convert? Right? Which is all really good to keep in mind. Okay, next update, also from Instagram. Oh, and there's our bootcamp link in the chat, everybody, for whoever wanted that. Carousel slides. I talked about this last month, and I was like, they're testing this. Get ready. Well, they launched it. This is now available to everybody. So for your carousels, which is any post that has multiple images in one post, right? Those ones you can swipe through, and typically it's like a swipe for 5 reasons why I became a loan officer, right? And then you swipe through and there's 1 reason per slide. Those are called a carousel. You can now add a different caption for each slide of the carousel. So when you swipe the photo, the caption changes to match. Now, there's no testing so far because this is brand new. There hasn't really been any research or anything released, at least that I've seen, about how this impacts SEO or search ranking for your content. In my mind, this should help your content because if you're taking the time to do really specific captions for each slide, you naturally have more keywords and different keywords throughout the post. So that could help your content do a lot better. But we haven't seen that come out yet because most people are just starting to use this feature. Now, you don't have to use this. If carousels already feel overwhelming, don't feel like, oh my gosh, now I need to do this. I just wanted to highlight it so everybody is aware. Because carousels do generate about 12% more engagement per post than any other format. They do take a lot more time, but they are the most engaging format you can post. So if you want tips on how to do that, I went over it last month as well. But typically I just say, have your first slide be a really good hook. Have your second slide also be a really good hook because a lot of people are shown the second slide if they don't engage with the first slide. I'll bring that back up later if you didn't understand what that meant. And then you want to make sure you have a call to action on the final slide, right? And then we're using keywords throughout. But 2 hooks and a call to action is the main rule for your carousels. Okay, now we'll switch over to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is testing something, and I find this really interesting. They are testing collaborative posts. So if anyone knows on Instagram, you can make a post where then you can add a collaborator, and then that post is shown to both of your entire audiences, which is great because sometimes we make a video with a colleague or a brand or, a referral partner at a conference, and you want to make sure that they're not just tagged in the video, but everyone that is in their audience sees the video too, right? That's why a collaborative post is different from tagging somebody because it automatically shares it to all of their audience if they accept being a collaborator. So what I like is I think LinkedIn has observed that working really well on other platforms and has said, all right, we want to do it too. So it's not released yet to everybody, but coming soon, you'll be able to create a post that you can then add your company page or your brand as a collaborator, or you could add a different colleague, an agent, your title rep, whoever you want. You could be creating these posts together, which could be really cool to do joint LinkedIn articles, joint posts. If you have videos with multiple people in it, you can add all of them as collaborators. And then that is going to get your post shown to a way bigger audience, right? Instead of only getting shown to your couple hundred followers, if you have 5 people in a video and they're all collaborators, that would be so cool to be able to say, okay, now this is going to 5 times the amount of people because it's going to everyone's audience who is a collaborator on this post. So if you want to start planning and getting ready for this feature, I would start planning content that involves other people, right? So saying, ooh, if I want to do a podcast with somebody, or if I want to create a video with a colleague or a referral partner, maybe let's do some content together. And then once this feature goes live, you'll be prepped and ready. You can post it as collaborators and you'll be reaching double the audience that you were before, which is really, really cool. Another new feature for LinkedIn is they added an analytics metric. And this one basically just shows you your in-network versus out-of-network impressions. Now, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but I think the reason this is worth paying attention to is because if you have really low out-of-network impressions, it's a really good sign that your content isn't generating interest for people who don't know you. So you might need to frame that a little bit differently to say, oh, if I know you, I find this interesting, but something about your post isn't either explaining who you are and what you do, or if I don't know you, I'm just not that interested. So that's something you could be fixing in your content if you notice, like, hey, I'm only really getting shown to people who already follow me. What's up with that? Right? On the reverse side, if you're like, whoa, I'm getting way more impressions for people out of my network who don't know me, who don't follow me, or aren't connected to me, but hey, I'm not getting new follows, I'm not really feeling that growth or that engagement, then that's something to say, okay, you're doing something well that gets your content seen, but you aren't converting that, right? You're not driving conversations or connections or getting people to then reach out. So that's just something I would pay attention to. If your discovery is low, right? So if your out of network impressions are low, the number one thing I would fix is your hook. That's just usually the number one thing if you want more views, more impressions, more engagement. Fix your hook, make it stronger, make it like, whoa, I cannot scroll past this without learning the answer. And then if your discovery is high, but your conversions are low, I would say to take a look at your profile in that case and say, okay, maybe people really like this video you did, but then if they're coming to your profile, something about that isn't enticing them to stick around. So maybe you could strengthen your profile, add a pinned post or a featured post, zhuzh up your about section, do something to really make it like, ooh, I want to follow this person. They have really good insights. So that's a quick tip on that LinkedIn metric. And then the last update for LinkedIn, which I just think is really fun, you can now comment GIFs, which again, not the most impactful thing ever, but for me, way fun. I think this is a fun one. Who doesn't love reacting with a GIF? You can see that literally the announcement post where someone said, hey, this is a thing, people only reacted with GIFs because we're celebrating. The one thing I want to highlight here is just that LinkedIn prioritizes thoughtful comments more than anything else. And by thoughtful, they typically mean like above 9 words, paragraph or two. If you're really giving a thoughtful response, those comments tend to get promoted more than others. So as much as we love GIFs and we want to use them when they're appropriate, don't let it fully replace your thoughtful comments. So if you're going in and you're like, I have to leave 5 comments on different posts every day. If you only leave 5 GIFs, you're not really going to be seeing much more engagement or much more growth. But if you're leaving really thoughtful, in-depth comments that add to the conversation and get people engaging with you, that's really going to be something that LinkedIn pushes out to more people. And it is possible to grow from comments, by the way. That is a really powerful way to get shown to other people, because if you're commenting on others' posts, you're accessing their network and their network's network. It's a really good way to be. If you don't always want to be posting all the time, commenting is a really great next step. Oh, and then I lied. There's one more LinkedIn update. This one is pretty cool as well. Again, I don't think it'll be a huge impact for those of us here, but I wanted to highlight it. You can now connect certain professional tools to your LinkedIn profile, and LinkedIn will actually summarize how you are actively using that tool. Not just like, oh, you use HubSpot or you use Total Expert, right? It'll actually use a little description of like, you actively use Total Expert to do these things, which is just cool. It speaks more to your skills and the way you actively use this. And I would say for brands, I don't know if it works on professional pages. I think it's only for personal. But for anyone who's a recruiter or looking to really showcase, hey, these are the things that we do at our company, this could be a really cool way to have those tools connected on your profile. So anyone looking at you or your company can kind of see, oh, they use these tools. They're with it. This is cool. They use Social Coach. Yeah, I want to work with them, whatever it is. So that's just a cool highlight feature that I wanted to make sure we're paying attention to. Oh, no, and I lied again. One more for LinkedIn. Oh my gosh, I forgot how many LinkedIn updates were this month, you guys. They also are cracking down on AI content. And I wanted to highlight this because it's not just AI content, it's any content that seems to lack a clear personal perspective. So that tells me that if we're just using ChatGPT to generate some educational tips and put them out in the world, that may not do as well. Are they going to, like is it going to negatively impact your post? Not necessarily, but it will be shown to fewer people outside of your immediate network because it isn't adding or contributing value or perspective in a conversation, discussion oriented way, which is what LinkedIn is all about, right? So in this way, I just want to highlight, Anything you can do to add personal stories, client conversations, lessons you learned, those all do really well. If you can share opinions that are backed by your own experience, always a good thing. And encouraging your team, if you're someone who's like, hey, I'm giving my team these assets to post, make sure you're encouraging people to personalize either the caption or the image or the video script. Make sure you're personalizing instead of just copying verbatim, because that's going to help it do better in the feed, right? And the same thing goes for our social coach scripts, by the way. We write those for you guys, and I love when you use them. But I always advise people try to personalize them where you can. Add in your own examples, tweak it to sound a little bit more like you. That is always going to perform better than if you just use it word for word, which, hey, if it's a busy week and you got to do it that way, that's what it's there for. But we can always be leveling up past that if we have the time. And just making sure we're having and leaving room for our individual perspective and context within all of our posts. Okay, now we're done with LinkedIn, I promise. So, one other tip I wanted to give and an update that is related to Social Coach for Social Coach users is we have updated our video pages or our video messages to include the equal housing logo and disclaimer. So companies, you can set a sample brand disclaimer if you want. You can see down here, we just use the word sample brand disclaimer NMLS ID test, right? But you could be putting in very specific disclaimers for your team, your company, branch, region, whatever it is. And you can edit these on specific video page themes to make sure they show up. So I'm sure the compliance officers and the marketers on this call will be very excited about that. But I just wanted to highlight it. And if you're someone who hasn't been using our video page feature, go take a look, because it's just like Vidyard. It's just like BombBomb. It's where you can record a quick little personal video and then email or text it to somebody, but it tracks views, it tracks clicks. You can add a button that goes to your phone number, your email, or even something if you want people to download or view a form. It's a really personal way of delivering messages. And I shared last month that we had somebody who sent out an MVP, my video page, for anyone who doesn't know, before the Memorial Day holiday. He had sent it one message, one video, just to 60 people being like, hey, have a great weekend. Hit me up if you need anything. Got a contract in his inbox by Monday morning after that long weekend. So if you want to give it a try, 4th of July weekend might be perfect. I know everyone's logging off and going off for the holidays. Maybe use MVP, record a quick video message to your agents, referral partners, clients, send it out in an email and see what happens come Monday. Because at the very least, you can track it to see how many people viewed and clicked. And hopefully, even better, you get some results based off that later. And then a second quick update from Social Coach, and then we'll get into content tips, you guys. This one is for my marketers who are on this call. If you are in mortgage marketing, we are hosting an event this September in Laguna Beach. It's 2 days, and it's all designed for mortgage marketers. We feel like it's a little bit of an overlooked sector sometimes. A lot of conferences are amazing. They're built for our LOs. They're built to help our sales staff succeed, but they're not always built for the small but mighty marketing teams who are the content engine behind all of this. So if you want to be in a room with 75 other marketers who are facing the same challenges, using really cool frameworks to grow loan volume and have better implementation and comms, we would love to have you join us. We are capping it at 75 people because we want to keep this nice and personal. And we are down to less than 60 seats remaining. We've only had this up for about a week, you guys, and we're already starting to see those numbers drop. So feel free to scan the QR code on the screen if you want more info, or the link to register or for more details is also in our bio on our social platforms. Or of course, you can email us if you want more info, but we'd love for you to join us. Early bird pricing does end in a little less than 13 days, I think. So make sure you're getting in there, and we'd love to see you. And if you're a loan officer on this call and you're like, this doesn't apply to me, but you think your team would really value this and you want them to know all the strategies of how to leverage Social Coach better and beyond, feel free to send them this invite and say, hey, you might want to check this out, because we'd love to have them there. Okay. Now we're going to get into content tips. I see one other question from Michelle. Is there a way for the video page to appear as more than just a link? Yes. So the video page is built in a way that puts a preview of the thumbnail with a play button in the email so that it doesn't come off super spammy. Sorry, I didn't explain that well. But yes, when you copy that link from the video page you've created, it will give the thumbnail a play button and then the link below it to say, click here to watch my video. And then it appears both via email, or if you text it, it will pop up a preview of the video. The one exception there, if you've never texted the person before, the video doesn't always populate because the it's like Apple trying to protect people from spam. But as long as it's a client that you've connected with before via text, that video should automatically populate for them and they'll see and be able to click on it there. Michelle, that's beautiful. Yes, we do our best to build things for you guys that we know are useful, that work well for you and your clients and your team. So if you're not using it, or if you don't see it in your account and you have questions, feel free to reach out to our support team. It's support@socialcoach.io. Or if you're just like, hey, I'm not seeing this, you can always check in with your admin if that's something that you want to learn more about, because they should have it. And if they don't, they can ask us and we'll get you guys all set up and running. But it's a really cool feature. We'd love to see people using it more. Okay, now we're going to get into content tips, you guys. I'm going to go through these a little bit quick to make sure we have time for trends at the end of this. But if anyone has questions, keep them coming because I love to hear them. So this is a big turning point, I think. And I just thought this was so fascinating. So it's not exactly a content tip, but we'll turn it into one in 1 second. But data was released for the first time ever. Social media and video platforms are now where people get the majority of their news from. So more than television, more than news websites and apps, people are going to social media to get news updates more consistently, more often, and in way bigger capacities, right? Bigger swaths of people in all generations. You can see this graph. It's like really, really far going up over the years. So what that means, and what I want you to take that into account with your content, is that people are not just going to social media to be entertained, right? It's not just, oh, I'm scrolling and all I want is fun stuff. We do want the fun stuff, don't get me wrong. But a lot of people are using it for financial education. They're using it to stay informed. They're using it to get updates that maybe they think the news outlets either aren't quick enough, or they're showing different, they're staying very neutral, but you actually want an opinion or you want to know why it's relevant to you. So there's a lot of creators who are benefiting off of becoming a reliable source of one specific kind of expertise, right? There's accounts that only share social media trend videos and updates. There's accounts that only showcase really severe news updates that everybody needs to know about. There's some people who pick like, okay, Orange County news. All I'm going to share with you is Orange County and only if it's relevant to this area, right? So if you can pick a niche to work for your audience that you know that they're interested in and become that reliable source of translating news updates for them so they don't have to go search it out, that is a way we're seeing a lot of people get really good engagement, right? So my tip here is not that you need to be the breaking news source and be on top of every single thing that's being released, but if you can help people understand those updates in a way that they know, oh my gosh, sorry, I'm going to pick on somebody. Brad is always posting market updates every week, and I just saw a news headline that I don't understand. I'm going to send that headline to Brad and be like, can you break this down for me? I know you make these cool videos about it. I don't understand what's going on, but I want to, right? If I know that Brad is the go-to person on my feed who's always doing that, he's going to get that question and that outreach. Whereas if I don't really know what the article is saying and I don't have anyone to ask about it, I'm probably just going to ignore it and keep living my life. So if you guys can find a way to say, hey, I'm going to give you the fun weekend things happening in my area every weekend, or I'm going to be the person you go to with breaking news about housing things in Congress. You can kind of carve out a niche for yourself, and that can be really valuable. So there's a content tip to do with not that you have to be a news source, but if you can translate articles or translate changes in the market, and that's something that you naturally feel very comfortable and excited about, start working it into your content, and that should go really well for you. Another tip, we're going back to LinkedIn a little bit here. They did release some posting tips. And this, I looked at it, it is technically a marketing guide, but it looks like it's pretty much a summary of a bunch of posts from different experts or people who have tested things out on LinkedIn. So what the guide says is it basically says that if you want to see meaningful growth on LinkedIn, you should be targeting 2 to 5 posts per week. And there was even some highlighting saying that 1 to 2 video posts tends to do even better for growth, which we love to hear it. That's what our platform is here to help with the post automation to make it easy to post multiple times in a week. And then with our scripts and being able to easily record and then have that auto post for you, 1 video a week and making 2 to 3 posts a week should be pretty easy. Hopefully with Social Coach, with our help, we hopefully make that really easy for you. Regular posting just helps the platform better understand what you're talking about, what your areas of expertise are, and who it should be showing your content to, right? And if 5 posts a week feels really overwhelming, by the way, here's my tip. Don't try to come up with something new on the spot 5 times a week. That's the worst way to do this, right? Everyone's going to get overwhelmed. What I want you to do is try to think of 2 to 3 repeatable content series or frameworks. And this is something we talk about in boot camp as well. Is, hey, every Friday, I'm going to answer a client question that I got asked that week. Easy. All week, you can just write down every question you get asked. You're going to answer one of those in a post or a video on every Friday. Now you know exactly what to do every Friday. Every time you get a question, you know to write it down. And hopefully during the week, you're like, ooh, that's a really good question. That's the one I'm going to answer on Friday. And maybe you even get excited before Friday and you make it happen early because you're like, no, I had a really good conversation about this. I want to record this while it's fresh, right? So that can be really great. So that can be easier if you create these buckets or say, hey, I'm going to post these 3 categories every week. Makes it a lot easier to stay consistent rather than coming up with something on the spot. Let's see. And I see Michelle, this is so powerful. There's a lot of misinformation out there, even news taken out of context. Absolutely. That's the other part of it, right? I love when people take like a generic news article, say something from realtor.com that's showing averages for the whole nation. If you are knowledgeable enough to take that and say, hey, this is true for most areas, but in California, this actually does not apply. Let me tell you why. Oh my gosh, I'm going to pay attention to that, right? Because if you know the local market area so much better than the national averages, and you can tell me as somebody who's maybe keeping an eye on, like, I don't know when I'm going to buy a home, but I'd like to in the next decade. If you can be the one saying, here's what I want you to really know because it's different, that is a huge differentiator. It immediately shows your value. It makes me want to follow for more because now I'm saying, oh, you're not just repeating content, you're helping me understand it better. So that's a great way. Thanks for the comment, Michelle. I love to hear that you're finding that valuable and would love to see more people trying that out. Okay, next thing for LinkedIn, this was like a footnote somewhere and I grabbed this and I was like, wait, this is not a footnote. This is really important. Carousel posts are dominating LinkedIn right now. So carousels, which are again, these multiple slide posts you can see where you can either swipe or click through, they're outperforming text posts by 3 times the amount of engagement, views, etc. And they're pulling in about like close to 300% more engagement than video, which is pretty crazy. So what I think that means, carousels can take a lot more effort. They can be harder to create than video. I think video takes a certain level of comfort, but once you're there, all you have to do is pick up your camera, talk to it for a minute and post it, right? Carousels take more thought, more structure, sometimes some design work. They can be a little more involved, but they can be really valuable and they can last a lot longer in terms of someone can sit there, they can scroll through it, they might save it and come back to it. They might screenshot one of the slides in it and save it for later. So carousels can be a really powerful way of conveying information in just a slightly different format. So again, just to reiterate on how to do that, people usually say 5 to 10 slides. That sounds like a lot, but it's because you should be putting less text per slide, right? We don't want 3 paragraphs per slide. We want like a sentence, and then I swipe and I read another sentence, right? You want to have a really good hook on slide 1, another really good hook on slide 2, and then the rest are just your points. Ending CTA slide. You can use really simple designs. These don't have to be fancy. And on Instagram, you can even create these where you upload a photo of yourself and then Instagram lets you add the text in the platform. So that's something you could do. Or if you're just like, here's a photo of me, just add this text on top. You can do that all in Instagram, download those out when you're posting it, and then put that on LinkedIn as well. But
so do you mean it would look, Ashley, do you mean when you add the text to it, would it be like a bubble?
Yes.
Like a cartoon, like you're saying it?
So it wouldn't be like a bubble cartoon. It would be like adding, it's hard to explain without visuals. But you know, when you're creating like a story or if you're ever typing on your content, it just creates text on the screen. And then sometimes you can put like a highlight around it.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's like all the other Instagram features. If you've ever tried to make a reel or a story and add your own text to it, that's how it looks. So it does take a little bit of like, oh, I'm going to make sure it's not covering my face and it's in the corner and I put the highlight behind it so you can read it, right? It still requires.
Like if you did a B-reel.
Yes, if you did a B-roll and you added it on, it would be same process. You're just doing it with photos. But that way, I'm like, if that's like, that's the easiest way in some ways, but I also love Canva. So if you're someone who's like, oh, I could pop into Canva, grab a template that exists and just do it that way, sometimes that's easier as well. The one tip I want to make sure everyone really has is when you are uploading your carousels to LinkedIn, this is my favorite tip ever, you have to do it as a PDF, right? Every other platform, they want you to upload it as individual images and then they format it for you. With LinkedIn, when you do that, it makes it like a photo album and it cuts it all off. So if you want it to look really clean, like this example here on the screen, where you can just click and see one slide at a time, you have to attach it as a PDF. And I think it's actually when you go to click the icons when you're creating a post, it says post as a document. And so that's really confusing for a lot of people, but you want to upload it as a document. You'll see then it looks like you can click through each of these. And then that's a way more effective way to upload these on LinkedIn, because every click, every time someone clicks to view the next slide, that counts as an engagement, you guys, which is why I think these get 3 times the engagement of any other post, because on a video, you're not clicking it. You're just going to sit and watch it. You're going to sit and watch and then probably comment if it asks you to. But with a carousel, you have to click 10 times to get to the end of it. That's 10 engagements right there. So I think that the format is just inherently rigged in that way, in a good way, which is why if you're not doing carousels and you want to see more growth and engagement, posting even 1 carousel a month might just be a fun way to experiment with that and capture some additional engagement. So that was a long tip, but that's my tips for carousels, you guys. Another quick tip, pivoting to Instagram. Instagram reach is dictated by engagement. This may not be new, but it is something that I noted was just phrased a little bit differently than usual. What they were able to determine is that I talked about this last month or maybe 2 months ago, where now a lot of the engagement metrics, it's not just how many likes did you get that determines your reach. It's how many likes did you get compared to the watch time. And they're calling that a rate. So like a like rate or a share rate. How many shares compared to watch time? How many likes compared to watch time? So it's all kind of a ratio. And what's cool about that is what I liked here is they said like rates way more for reaching existing followers. So if you have a really high like rate, cool, you're going to get shown, your post is going to get shown to more of your followers. But share rates or send rates are what matter more for unconnected reach. So that's getting your posts in front of new people. So if you're someone who's sitting there going, okay, likes are great and I want to be in front of my audience, but I really care about getting in front of someone new, focus on getting your videos shared. So whether that's, hey, send this to somebody who blank, send this to your colleague, you can ask for that in your videos and make them inherently more shareable, which, by the way, news stuff is inherently more shareable because it's an update that you're saying, hey, you need to know this. Someone else in your circle probably does too. They're more likely to send that to somebody if they're like, hey, this new bill's going through Congress that's going to make home buying easier for you. You should check this out, right? It's something that I'm more likely to share just because it seems to be newer and fresher information. So send and share rates are something good to focus on. Like rates are also good for reaching your existing audience. And then Adam Mosseri, the leader of Instagram, he just dropped some tidbits that I always like to collect these. They're usually not anything mind-blowing. It's stuff that I already have either predicted or known and typically already shared with you guys, but it's always good to have a confirmation officially. So the things he confirmed, editing your caption after you post does not negatively impact your reach. All right. So he's like, there's a rumor going around that if you edit your post because you had a typo, it tanks your reach. Not true. Don't worry about it. If you see a typo and you want to fix it, go right ahead. All right. There's another thing. He's like, I've heard that if you post a video and it doesn't do well, people are telling you to delete it and try again. He doesn't recommend doing that unless you really change the opening hook or something different, because he's like, if anything, people are just going to have already seen it and think it's a glitch and they'll scroll by and you'll get less watch time, less engagement on it. So typically if a post doesn't do well and you're like, dang, I really wanted that to, my recommendation, and it sounds like his recommendation, would be to take that video, redo the first 5 to 10 seconds, or just re-record it with a better, stronger 5 to 10 second opening, and then try posting it again a week later, right? Most people won't recognize it as the same content, but it's a good way to give it a second life. And then my favorite tip that he gave this time was the best time to post rumor. And I was like, yes, it's a rumor. There is no such thing as a best time to post, you guys. If there was, every brand, influencer, company, everybody would be posting at that exact time, which would make it the worst time to post because then everyone's posting at that time. Plus, my favorite is when they're like 9 a.m. on Tuesdays is the best time to post. And I'm like, but what time zone? Like if I'm posting 9 a.m. California, that's 12 p.m. at New York. Like, what do you mean? So there is no best time to post. If you really care, you can look at your audience engagement metrics in the Instagram platform or in any specific platform. Typically, I'm going to tell you guys, it's 9 to 6 p.m. most days, because that's when people are awake, right? And they're on their phones, right? It's sometimes a little before work, lunchtime, after work, before bed. those are the times when you're scrolling. That's when your audience is also scrolling between meetings, sometimes on your lunch break, whenever. So the best time to post, he was saying, is an hour before the peak watch time or peak activity level of your audience. For me, that just means post earlier in the day because it gives more people a chance to see it later in the day. If you post at 6 p.m., East Coast might already be asleep, and some people are going to not see your post because they have a lot more to scroll through already, right? Whereas if you post it at 6 a.m., you're hitting, everybody has a chance for that to show up on their feed. So earlier in the day or an hour before your peak activity time from your followers is a great time to be posting. But truly, the best time to post is when you have time and you can get it up, right? Or using Social Coach to schedule it for early morning, because I'd rather it posted than sitting in your drafts because you're like, oh, no, wait, I'll wait to post it tomorrow because it's a good time. And then I forgot, and then it never happens. That's not what we want to have happen. And along those lines, I just wanted to gather some quick tips that we may not know, just some ones I've gone over the past couple months, but never hurts to reiterate. So for Instagram in particular, adding music to carousels makes them eligible for the Reels tab. So that's another great way of, hey, Reels, the Reels tab basically is videos, but it's pushing them out to people who don't follow you typically, right? Sometimes it's some followers, some not, but Reels get shown to a lot of people who don't follow you. So if you add music to a carousel, it is treated like a reel and it will often get pushed out to more people in that feed. So if you're not adding music to your carousels, just do it every single time. Just choose a song, trending audio, slap it on there, send it out, and that'll help get you a little bit more reach and more performance. The other little known thing about carousels, they get double the amount of chances in the feed. So that's why I was saying that you should have a hook on slides 1 and 2, because if someone scrolls past your carousel and let's say the first slide is 5 reasons you should work with a loan officer, and they're like, nah, I don't care, and they scroll, the next time they open their feed, it will show them slide 2. And it might be like, the reason you need to work with a loan officer will save you thousands of dollars. Here's why. Oh, well, now suddenly I want to know how to save thousands of dollars. And now I'm reading it, right? So that second slide sometimes is what hooks people more than the first slide. And you get 2 chances. But the cool part about this, and this is also why carousels are rigged to get more engagement, is because if someone spends the time to read both slides, that is doubling the dwell time on that post. So if you posted, let's say, a selfie, and it took someone 5 seconds to look at the selfie, read the caption, and scroll. With a carousel, let's say it takes them 5 seconds to read the first slide and scroll, but then it gets shown again on the second slide, and it takes them 5 seconds to read it and scroll. That's now 10 seconds of dwell time on that post just because they got shown it twice. So that's double the engagement of the other post simply because it showed up twice in their feed, right? Let alone if they actually sit, read, engage, swipe through, right? Do all the things we want them to do. It just showing up twice naturally gets you more time on it, which means that carousel will perform a little bit better than your typical post and will get shown to more people because of that. So just another reason why carousels are pretty great. Again, I know they take more effort. I'm not saying you have to do carousels only, but if you can incorporate 1 or 2 per month, I think you will see that they tend to do better than most other content formats, along with video. Carousels and video are like the 2 top ones that I always talk about. Speaking of video, you can also respond to comments with a video. This is something that I think we forget about a lot, just because we get busy and we're trying to respond to comments, but sometimes we forget. You can take someone's comment and you can respond in a video and then reply to it on Instagram, and the comment will show up and it will make it clear this is what you're replying to. What's cool about that is it's another way to get more content from existing content, right? You make a video, someone comments, you make a video responding, but that video now also acts as another post and piece of content for that week. So you can just reply and say, oh, here's a reply, DM me if you want more info, but you can also create a video answer. And I think a lot of us don't necessarily think about that or take advantage of that as much as we could. Especially because then, hey, you've already done 2 videos in a week just because you answered someone's comment in a video, which is pretty cool. You can also, there's the analytics, by the way, in Instagram that allow you to see which carousel slides. I should have grouped those together. Sorry, I should have grouped all the carousel stuff together. The analytics will tell you which slides got the most engagement, right? So you can see on this image, the first slide got 10 likes, then it's like 1, 1, 1, 1. And then I bet you the call to action slide got an extra like or 2 just because beginning end, people are like, yeah, that was helpful. And they like the post and then they keep scrolling. So that's kind of cool. If you're ever wondering, like, did my second slide, is that the one people liked? Like, which part of the carousel did people like, or did they drop off on? If you see that you have like 1, 1, 1, and then like slides 5 through 10 have 0 likes, you might be like, oh, all right, I lost interest. Okay, I'll make this shorter next time, right? Which is good to know. And then the last tip, I've talked about trial reels before. I think that one was like 2 months back, but they get shown to non-followers only. If you post a trial reel, it does not go to any of your current followers. So what's cool about that is if you have old videos or new videos that you want to test out and you're like, I really only want people who don't know me to see this, you can try posting that as a trial reel, and then see how that goes for you. Which can be really cool. Just a good way to say, hey, I got 600 views, but I know all 600 of those people don't already know me or follow me, which can be really nice. Brandy, how many trial reels do I recommend per month? Honestly, as many as you can. I would say at least 1 to 2 if you can. Just even taking a piece of content and either redoing it or something a little older, giving it a try. I would say, I think they've said that if they notice a trial reel is the exact same as something you've already posted, they sometimes don't get that doesn't get as much reach because they know it's a repeat. So it is a little annoying sometimes if you're like, oh, I have to create new content just to go out. But I would say start with 1 to 2. And then if you can get up to 1 trial reel a week, I think that's a really good cadence to be operating on if you can. If that doesn't feel realistic, once or twice a month is great. But I feel like the gurus are like, I do 3 trial reels a day because that's the limit. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that feels a little crazy. But the more you can, the better. That's how social media kind of works. The more you can post, the more engagement and watch time and all the things you'll get. But I'm also of the mind of let's keep it realistic and high quality while doing that, right? It's all about balance. So hopefully that helps. But definitely 1 to 2 a month if you can is what I would recommend trying. Okay, I'm going to recap this really quick, and we have 10 minutes to run through our trends. And then if we have any questions, I'm happy to stick around and answer those. But your challenge for this upcoming month, or your playbook, as you will, if you want to focus on a specific platform, here are what I would focus on each platform. So this is just like a quick takeaway. I know that was a lot of information. So if you want like a really quick action item, here's what I'd recommend. For Instagram, focus on creating videos that increase your shares. So make videos that people want to share, either being news related or saying, hey, send this to someone you know who doesn't know down payment programs exist. Or if you're a parent and your kid is a Gen Z person who wants to buy, send them this video. I'm going to give them some advice, right? If you can create videos like that that feel more inherently shareable, that will help you grow and get more growth overall. And if you want, experiment with those carousels to get increased engagement and reach. That's going to be really cool. So shareable and carousels for Instagram. For LinkedIn, try posting at least 1 video a week with the goal of working up to 2 to 5 times posting every week. And same thing, if you want to try those carousels, toss them on LinkedIn too. Remember to upload them as a document or a PDF. All right. And if you're on social, or if you want a guide for that, if you follow Social Coach on Instagram and you DM us LinkedIn, I have a guide that I can send you guys. That goes through how to do that in case you wanted to save that in your folders. I don't have it on me, and since I'm live in like 6 places, I can't just grab it. But if you go to Instagram, follow socialcoach.io and message us LinkedIn, I'll make sure that you get that. No problem. And then for TikTok, I would make sure you are adding your video, your keywords to your video metadata. So after you've posted, go edit the video and make sure the keywords are accurate. If you're not using keywords at all, do some research and start adding in keywords to your videos, right? Even if the keyword is homebuyer, just make sure you say homebuyer in the script and the caption, and then see how many times you can say homebuyer without it sounding ridiculous, right? Just re-emphasize and reiterate and get used to putting those keywords in there. And then the second thing for TikTok is thinking about poll content, where you either ask your audience a question or you're putting polls somewhere in your comments or your feed and getting people to share their opinions. That's going to be a really good one. And as a bonus, if you are a Social Coach user, try using our video page feature to record a quick video message and send it out to your database, especially before 4th of July this weekend, you guys. Perfect time to make it casual, quick, easy. Just send a nice message out to your database saying you're here to help them if they need, see how that goes. And then if you have a win from that, if it goes really well for you, please email us and let us know. I love to hear that. Or message us on social if that's easier. But let us know how it goes. I really love to hear when that works out for people. Okay, if there's any other questions, let me know, chat, comment. We're going to get into trending videos and let's get going. Okay, I've chosen 4 trends this week that most of them are pretty easy, so I think this should be really good. But the first one is called Describe Your Job, but Make It Sound Illegal. This one, only is just text on screen. You don't have to talk, which makes it so easy. You record about 10 seconds of yourself doing something that involves movement. It could be sitting at your desk typing. It could be walking into your office. It could be walking your dog. Literally could be almost anything. And then on the screen, you just put text that says, describe your job, but make it sound illegal. And then you write a blurb underneath. So I'm going to show this video so you can see the example, and let's watch it. And then I'll give you the example. There we go. So all it is, describe your job, but make it sound illegal. And it says, this is clearly a loan officer. It says, I meet strangers on the internet, review their deepest financial secrets, interrogate them about their money, then package their entire life story to convince another human to trust them with $500,000. There we go. Sounds fun. Also, so I don't know if that sounds illegal, but it's a funny way of framing your job. I think especially for loan officers with compliance, people maybe don't actually make it sound illegal, right? But what the goal of this trend is to make your job sound really funny and kind of out there, and then be like, oh no, I'm just a loan officer. Oh, I'm a real estate agent, right? But if you can describe your job in the wackiest, funniest, most niche possible way, it can be really encouraging and gets people to comment and be like, oh yeah, that is weird. So I've seen a couple agents do this and have it go really well for them, where they're like, I convince people to let me come into, or they even say strangers. They'll be like, I convince strangers to let me photograph every room in their house, put those photos on the internet, advertise where they live, invite people in to tour the home, and then schedule opportunities for them to negotiate with people over it. Right? Like when you say it like that, it sounds actually certifiably insane. But luckily, this is just the industry we work in and how it works. So if you can use this trend, it's kind of a good way of highlighting what you do for your clients and the things that you are doing on a daily basis in a way that can be more humorous and funny. So another version I liked was, I tell grown adults that they need written permission from grandma before she can give them money. Right? Like that's a small niche aspect of being a loan officer. That's just gift funds, right? But you can take even just a piece of the process and make it sound kind of funny so that people go, oh, that's weird. I never thought about that. And kind of get insight into more of what you do. Now, along this, you can use any trending audio for this, by the way. The one being used is this like do-do-do-do kind of sound. But any trending audio that you see could be used with this one. But I wanted to show you too, a lot of trends can be done. They'll use the same audio, but there will be multiple trends underneath it. So to show you guys that and to illustrate it, I'm going to go to the next one. And this one uses the same audio, but it's a different trend. So we're going to watch it first, and then I'll explain it a little bit more. But I think this one's really funny. Here we go. Okay, so sorry if the audio lagged a little bit there, but basically, if you could see on all the do-do-do-do, the person is just moving backwards in the frame, but the editing of the video cuts it so we don't see them moving. We only see them further away. And so it creates this kind of comedic, like, I am slowly backing away from you and disappearing out the door effect. So the trend is you put on screen something that a client would say that makes you immediately want to run away, right? And you're just kind of staring at them like, oh no. And then you're like backing up without them seeing you move. So what's fun about this is all you have to do is, this should take you maybe 5 to 10 minutes tops. You just stand in a hallway or somewhere, set up your phone to record, and then you stand and stare at the camera for 2 or 3 seconds, move, keep staring at the camera, but you have to stay still. And then you just keep backing up and go to all those spots, send it into Social Coach. And if you have our editing service, we'll cut it for you to look like this without you having to do anything. So it can be one take. You can pause, you can talk, you can walk around, but you just want to stop and pause in each of these places. We'll cut it for you. And if you don't have an editing service, if you don't use Social Coach that way, you can do this yourself pretty easily. Same thing, record it all at once, but then just cut out all the middle parts so that it looks really abrupt when it's like do-do-do-do, and then you back up. So I would stand in place for about 5 seconds each time, just to make sure on those longer ones you have enough footage, and then you'll cut it to match the beats, which just makes it really funny. Brandy, you just did this trend and Social Coach made it look great. I love that. Our editors are really top notch, you guys. And especially if you can give them an inspo video like this to show them this is what I want, they do an amazing job. We'll put the audio on for you. We'll cut it. We'll do it all. Makes your life so easy and literally saves me hours every single week from editing my own videos, because who has time for that, you guys? Am I right? Especially on a holiday week. So For this one, you can do one long clip or a couple short clips moving further away from the camera, and then you just put something on screen that makes you be like, yikes. Whatever it is that has you going, yikes, I'm running away from that, put it on screen. Typically, I would just recommend that this is something that teaches your clients a good learning or lesson without making them feel scolded or embarrassed, right? We're not trying to call somebody out and be like, you're wrong for this. You're just trying to be like, oh, when a client says they want to look at homes before they're pre-approved, and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to work with that, right? So it's like a gentle, humorous reminder of here are things I would avoid doing in your home buying process. Okay, next one, another fun one. This should be pretty easy. It's about showing either a service or a feature or something that is free. It does not cost people anything. And especially in the loan and real estate process, I think there's a lot of misconceptions over when people should start the process, why they should reach out to you, right? Like, and they think, oh, well, am I gonna have to pay up front, or I don't know. So I think this is a really fun way if you do free consultations, or if you're like, hey, I can tell you your home value, or do a free refinance, or sorry, not a free refinance, like a free conversation about if it's a good idea to refinance or not. The way you phrase this is important. Make sure you're being compliant. But the audio is what carries this. And let me show you why. So I'm going to play it really quick. Here we go.
I mean, leave me alone. He always tell me he miss it. He wanna FFR.
Okay, it's that easy. So it's a song from Nicki Minaj that obviously is spelling the word freak, but we cut out the end part. So it's F-R-E, which spells free. And so it's basically just you showing, hey, you can ask me, how much are your roof inspections? They're free. So it can be a really fun way to showcase, hey, this is a part of the process that doesn't cost anything. And you may not know that, which is why you might be hesitating to reach out, right? How much does it cost to get pre-qualified or pre-approved? How much, whatever it is. If there's fees, obviously don't use this, but it's a good one, I think, to show parts of the process that people might think cost money, even when they don't. So I kind of love this one. Or if there's even more creative spins you can put on this that help your clients, that could be a really fun way to use it. Okay, and this last one is my favorite, which is why I saved it for the end. There is no trending audio for this one, okay? So it's a little harder. I put it as a medium because it is a style of video, not a trend. Or, well, that's not true. It is a trend, but there's no audio. But I think this is really fun. So I'm going to let it speak for itself. I'm going to play this, and then I'll explain how you do this one, okay?
Touch me again, you'll find out who I really am.
Yeah, all right.
Hi, I'm Lauren, owner of Ink and Ember, an independent bookstore in the heart of Stamford, Lincolnshire, and online bookseller. We're open 7 days a week, selling teas, coffees, cakes, books, and bookish merch. Come on down and see us. Thank you, bye.
Okay, I love that one. I think it's so funny. So essentially, it's you have someone shove you and you do the whole aggressive, like, whoa, if you touch me again, you're going to see who I really am. And then you have them do like, okay, and they shove you again. But then you turn around and give like a really friendly pitch. I've seen people hand over business cards and be like, oh, I'm your local loan officer. I'm right down here. And you're so friendly and polite and nice. And that juxtaposition is what makes it really, really funny. And I've seen these do really well. So I love this because I think it's a really great way of introducing yourself, talking about what makes you different, how you help clients, what your approach is, maybe even what you're passionate about. If you're like, oh, I'm really passionate about helping veterans get into homes and with VA loans that they may not know they have access to, you could put that in this little 15-second pitch. The one thing I'll say is it will be hard to do this just impromptu, right? With no script. If someone shoves you, if you're doing this video, I would make sure you've written out a quick script or at least some talking points so that it feels more natural. So that's why it's a little bit of a medium. It requires a little bit of prep, but then hopefully you just do this with a friend or a colleague and it should go pretty quickly and be pretty fun. And I even feel like you get some really good bloopers out of this, of them like shoving you or you like falling into a door. And that could just be a really hilarious extra piece of content to be like, okay, now the behind the scenes of making this video where everything went wrong. So a little bit harder, but I think it's pretty fun. And if you want a fun way to do an intro video and pin that on your profile and you don't have that yet, this could be a really good one to give a try. Okay, so those are our trends for this month. I do put them into a spreadsheet for you guys to make them really easy to access. So if you want to scan here on this QR code, you can grab that trend document here. And then we do release these scripts or these trend scripts in the Social Coach library. We upload one a week. So there should already be 2 in there to get you started. And then next Monday, there will be another one. And then I think the final fourth one will be uploaded. And that way, if you're someone who's like, I want to do these, but I don't have time to do all 4 right now, you can be taking them 1 a week for the rest of the month, but they'll all be in the Social Coach Library by the end of the month. But if you want a head start, scan this QR code, get the whole document, and then you have the audios, you have the example videos, and the quick description of how to do it. So you could get ahead for the month if you want to. All right. That's the trends for this month. We are Social Coach. If you have any questions about what we can help with, any new features, anything you want help learning how to leverage better, just let us know. And the next slide is just the QR code. If you want to keep coming to these, we host them the first Thursday of every month. So it is hopefully 1 hour, sometimes a little longer, live session. We go over new tips, platform updates, and trending videos every month. And we'd love to see you guys continue to come back here. So thank you so much for being here. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer. And if you are a fan of Social Coach or of these calls, if you want to leave us a review on Google, that means the world to us. It's something that we are trying to work on. So we just appreciate you all being here. We hope it was helpful, and we would love to see you guys back here next week, or next month. I mean, not next week. There won't be enough updates for next week, believe me. But that's what I've got for you guys today. So thanks so much, and have a great 4th of July, everybody.